Hello and welcome to Taurean Tarot. In today's video, I am doing a visual representation of the map of the foundation of my root chakra. And this is based off of a reading that I did in my Healing with Tarot series. So if you want to know where these ideas are coming from and what I'm pulling from, I'll make sure I link that video in the cards so you can check that out. You know, originally I wasn't even going to do a journal entry for this because when I was working on my journal for the Healing with Tarot series, because I have two journals, I have a written journal and a visual journal. In my written journal, I keep record of the cards that I'm pulling for the exercises we are working on. At first, I felt like that was enough of a visual representation of the map of my foundation because I have each of the cards, what they symbolize, and they're all basically laid out for me. And then I felt like, well, maybe I should at least have something in my visual journal to make sure that this is complete. And the whole idea is to expand on the work we're doing over there. So I came up with a couple of doodles, but when it actually came time to sit down and make it, it just was not resonating with me. I almost felt like I was forcing myself to do it. And when it comes to doing this type of work and even just creating art, you don't want to feel like you're forcing yourself to do it and feel like you're obligated to do it. So then I was going back to the idea of, well, maybe I shouldn't even bother. So I did all of the other visual journal entries first. I really enjoyed the process of making those. I felt like I dove pretty deep into them and I got out the meanings that I needed to while working on those. And I decided to give it one last look. So I sat with my spread that I did for this and I looked at all the cards. I looked at my initial sketches of the ideas that I had to represent them. And I decided I was being a little too broad. So I went back and I looked at each individual card and really focused on what I was pulling from the map of my foundation, what the story of my foundation was trying to tell me. And the biggest thing that stuck out to me was the Two of Swords, which was in the top row in the middle. And the Two of Swords itself does mean a crossroads, but it almost made me feel like I was at a crossroads, and that depending on which direction I chose is the direction that my energy is going to go. So I feel like that is where I really have to focus to strengthen my foundation of my root chakra. So I decided to make that the focus of this journal entry. So you're only going to see one card represented in this picture, and that's going to be the Two of Swords. And I noticed there was a common theme that I kept going back to the Two of Swords is I was trying to decide how I wanted to represent my map even more visually than it already is. So I think that's what was really calling me to it. And I didn't want to get too literal with the map, but this kind of compass always calls out to me anyway. I like to incorporate it in my work. I have one tattooed on me. So I did decide to pull that to represent the map itself. And while I was looking for reference images, I found something similar to what I created here and decided that was the direction I wanted to go. I like the little splashes of color. Nothing is overly complicated. I just think it all came together really nicely. And I think this was my favorite entry I ended up doing, which is wild because I wasn't going to even do it. So once I had everything drawn out, I had the outlines done, I had the color on the page, which I was using those pastels again. I've absolutely fallen in love with them. I'm so glad that I started working with those again. But once I had everything laid out, I was like, okay, it's gorgeous, but what is it telling me? So I sat with it and the same mantra just kept repeating itself. So I decided to write it down, and that's what you see written at the bottom of the page is choose happiness. And I think that's what is ultimately going to help me build that foundational energy that I need in order to strengthen that chakra and ultimately strengthen my chakra pillar. So that's where the idea for this comes from. You know, it's a very short video. It's a very simple picture, but just like the other ones that I've been doing for the foundation of my root chakra, I think it packs a punch and it holds a lot of symbolism in a very simplistic way. So that's going to be it for this video and for the visual journal entries for the foundation of my root chakra. If you haven't seen the other ones, make sure you check those out. I'm really happy with how this series turned out. I will be going back to the Healing with Tarot series, and in there we're going to be focusing on how our root chakra affects our sense of safety. So I can do the work in there, do those exercises to then continue my work in my visual journal. So if you're interested in that and you want to be notified when those go up, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so that you're notified when these videos do go up. And until the next one, take care and be well.